Mark Manson, in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F blank, says not only is certainty unattainable, but the pursuit of certainty often breeds more and worse insecurity. And that reminds me of a story that I read somewhere in one of my leadership books, and I can't remember where it was written, but I think it was John Maxwell told the story about how there was a professor who had a brand new course for the year. It started out, it was a pottery course, it was an art class, and so he decided that he's gonna show the importance of practicing and of doing things poorly. So he went right down the center of the classroom. He said, okay, everybody on this side of the classroom, you're going to be graded on one single pot that you make. At the end of the semester, we're going to look at it. I'm going to look at it. We're all going to look at it. We're going to take a look at how, all the different lines on it, all the, how beautiful it is, things like that. And this other side of the class, what you're going to do is you're just going to make as many pots as you can in this pottery class. And, 150 pounds and over gets an A, 100 to 150 pounds gets a B. And it doesn't matter the quality. We're not going to look at the curves. We're not going to look at anything like that. We're just going to take a look at the total number of finished products that you have. Well, they come to the end of the semester, and the ones on the first side of the class who were being graded only on, the one final project, the thing that had the most stakes attached to it, most of them were frozen. Like, they spent the majority of the semester thinking about and reading about and going and looking at this perfect art form, and then many of them were frozen from being able to take the steps until right near the end of the semester. And then they made the pot, and they couldn't make it look the way they wanted to because they didn't have the skills. They turned it in and they didn't do well. On the other side, everybody brought in their final projects, and there's like a whole pile, like there's a whole bunch. And what was apparent right at the end was that the people who started and were measured just strictly based on weight had some of the most beautiful pots. If you take a look at their first ones, they're horrible. Like, some of them collapsed when they put them in the kiln and things like that. The third one was terrible. The fifth one was marginally better. But they did not worry about whether they were certain they were going to get a good grade based on how their pot looked. They were only worried about, let me make as many pots as I can. And when they let go of this, it's got to be a certain perfection, that's when it started to look really good. And so that's the thing, is certainty is never attainable. You can never be 100% certain that what you're going to do is going to be perfect. When I fix a tractor, I'm never certain that it's going to start. And when you're like, okay, I've checked this, and you go down checking every system, you're just becoming more insecure. So what I do is I take and I check one system on the tractor. I take a look and see if there's spark. If there's spark, then I try firing it up. I don't necessarily go through and check all the fuel. I'm going to assume that there's some fuel there. And if it doesn't start, then I'm going to go and I'm going to see if there's fuel. And then if their fuel's not running, then I'm going to check that. But you cannot be certain 100% of anything. And it's okay to be uncertain, but to take action anyway. You're worth it.